you could see the blood drain from his face as he couldn't get the camera out. I was thinking, oh, crikey, this is terrible. What are they going to do? They're going to have to, cut me open to get the camera out. What an exciting time. A lot of you will have had experience now of getting jobs. You would have had some successes on whatever level. Some of you will start to feel a little bit more confident. Some of you will start to feel like, yes, I'm an actor. Of course, I've been in this, I've been in that, I've done this, I've done that. This is a very, very dangerous time. A few years ago, between Christmas and New Year, I started to feel a bit rough. Long before COVID and any of that kind of stuff. So I just thought I had a cold, etc., etc., etc. Carried on. I thought the air conditioning, the central heating was probably too high because my throat was so dry. I thought it was that, and it started to feel terrible and everything. And I was actually due to go into hospital anyway for an operation on my hand, and I was thinking, actually, if I feel this rough, I'm not going to be able to go into hospital, so I better try and get it sorted out. So I went to, because I think it was New Year's Day that I'd kind of made this decision on, and obviously there weren't any general practitioners open. So I went to a walk-in clinic and said, sat there for 2 hours and eventually got to see a doctor. And she looked down my throat and said, well, Mr. Pegg, we can't really deal with this there. You've got to go to hospital straight away. Anyway, turns out I had a thing called peritonsillar cellulitis, which was a lot more serious than I thought. Fundamentally, it's severe tonsillitis. I think they used to call it quinsy. And what happens is your throat actually closes. It gets so severe that it just swells up and you die because you can't breathe. So they rushed me into hospital, and when I got to hospital, there were two doctors waiting for me. One of them, in fact, had been called for, the consultant. I think he'd come in from home. Anyway, so the first thing that they did was they examined me. And to do that, they put a camera up my nose, one of these long tubes, if you like, that's got a camera in it, up my nose to examine my throat. And they did that, and they both looked at it, and they consulted and did what they did, and all that kind of stuff. And then the doctor that put it in tried to get it out, and it was stuck. And bear in mind, I felt terrible at this time anyway. And he was pulling, and this was a younger chap, and you could see the blood drain from his face as he couldn't get the camera out. I was thinking, oh, crikey, this is terrible. What are they going to do? They're going to have to, cut me open to get the camera out. But then what happened was the other fella, the consultant, came over, just put his hand on the other fella's shoulder and said, just let me have a go. Just went and pulled it out in one move without any problem whatsoever. Now, the point I'm making, the point what I'm trying to tell you is both of those people were doctors. Both of those people had enough experience to go out and be a doctor. But the older one, the one with more experience, could cope with any situation. Well, he could cope with that situation quite easily, where the other bloke was panicking. Now, what was the difference between the two? Quite clearly experience, but it wasn't age necessarily. It wasn't age-related experience. It's just the fact that the more you learn, the more confident that you become, the more answers that you've got. Now, there's a very famous quotation. It's actually attributed to quite a few people, and they all probably said it. I'm saying it now, so you might want to attribute it to me at some future point. But actually, I've heard that it was Rubinstein that said it. I've heard it was Andrei Previn that said it. I've heard it was another Polish conductor that said it. But the thing is very true. Yeah, let's say it was Rubinstein. What he said was, if I miss 1 day's practice, I notice it. If I miss 2 days' practice, the critics notice it. If I miss 3 days practice, the audience notices it. So what I'm asking you to be, what I want you to consider is that you need to be that consultant. Even though you're going out now and you're starting to get stuff, you've got to keep learning. You've got to be the bloke that can pull the camera out of Mark Pegg's nose without any problem. Yeah, you've got to keep learning, whether that's going back over stuff that you have already learned. We are now going to go off onto a series of other more in-depth views of looking at acting. But we need to not, I've said it a million times, we need to not rest on our laurels. We need to make educating ourselves about this business our number one passion. And then we will be able to pull that camera out anytime we want to. See you in the next lesson.